The purpose of my speech is to help you, the audience, understand and know the game of chess. Also including are learning the basics of chess, how to play the game, and what's involved. Now, the game of chess is a game that's been played around the world by millions. But before I start my speech, let me get a raise of hands of those who have heard or have played the game of chess. So it seems that most of us here know at least what the game of chess is. Now myself, personally, I've been playing chess since I was 7 years old. My father taught me, and I've joined many chess clubs. So I have a little knowledge of how to play the game, and I want to share that knowledge with you, the audience. Also, we're going to try to understand in our speech a history of the game and the components used and the rules that need to be followed. So in order to learn this game, let's look at the rules that have to be followed and understood. First, we'll start with the history of the game. Now, chess has been around for thousands of years, but the game that we know now is recent, up to the 15th century. So about 500 years we've been playing the game that we know now. Chess is a game that has been called the game of the kings, because many European countries would play the game of chess and compete with each other, the kings, to develop strategies to beat their opponent. Now, in order to play the game, you have to know what the pieces are. Starting off with the board. The board is a square that can be used, a flat surface, and is made up of horizontal and vertical columns. The vertical columns are called files, and the horizontal are called rows. Now, each one is a light and a dark color, and that's significant because that's how the pieces will go on the board. There are actually 64 different squares on the board, and each one allows the pieces to go through the flow of the game. So after the board, we have the pieces. Each player actually gets 16 different pieces in the game of chess, starting with the king. The king is the most valuable piece because after the king is conquered, the game is over. So protecting the king is very important. One thing about the king is that even though he's important, he has the least amount of moves. The king can move diagonal, back, forth, right or left. And they cannot move if there's another piece in front of them. Now, one of the most powerful pieces on the game is the queen. The queen has more ability to move diagonal, right, left, forward, and back. If another of your pieces are in front of her, you will not be able to go over them. But they can conquer any other piece on the board. Next is the bishop. The bishops are placed on the board. You get two bishops, and you get one on a dark and one on a light. And these move diagonal only on the board. These pieces can travel only if there's not another piece blocking them. Now, the only piece on a board that can actually go over a piece is the knight. The knight is the piece that can jump over a piece, but has to move 2 blocks forward and either right or left one. So you kind of make an L every time you make a movement with the knight. The last piece of significance is the rook. The rook goes horizontal and it can go vertical. Now, these also can move only if there's not another one of your pieces in front of it. If there is, it blocks the piece from moving. Now, the final piece is the pawn. Many people today believe that the pawn is the most insignificant, but in reality, this is the piece that sets the strategy for the game. Using the pawns correctly, you can actually beat your opponent. And in a sense, that's why they call them the pawn, because many people believe you can expend these. So now that we know a little bit about the pieces in a basic general form, now the next step is knowing what the object of the game is. The object of the game is to use your 16 pieces in order to put your opponent's king into checkmate. Checkmate is blocking the king from moving so that he no longer has an opportunity to move to the next step where he's in an ability to be taken. So once you put your opponent's king in checkmate, the game is over. So now that we know all the basics involved with playing the game of chess, why is this important? Or how can it benefit you? One way chess can benefit you is helping you to develop your thinking ability. This is the only game that is known that helps you create thinking, creative thinking, because you're going against your opponent and what he's going to do next. The other thing is it can help you to build strategy and tactical skills. You have to play against your opponent. You have to figure out what your opponent is going to do and try to defeat his moves. So you play an offense and a defense at the same time. Now lastly, one of the things that chess can do is to help build family relations. When I play with my sons and we spend time together. So playing chess can be a fun way to spend time with family members and friends. So now that you know the game of chess in its basic and general form, I encourage all of you to take up the game and try to play it.